Hello everyone. Now let's start with the next topic, that is the introduction to dynamics. So in this unit, in this video, I will discuss about the rectilinear, curvilinear and rotation motion. So first of all, we should know what is the mechanics. I have told you in the previous videos also when we are discussing about the object which might be in rest or in motion. So when we are studying the object which is at rest position or in equilibrium, then we say we are discussing about the static part, and when we consider the movable object or the motion is there, then we are saying we are discussing about the dynamics. So under dynamic there are two parts, kinetics and kinematics. So in this video I will go for the kinematic part, and in the next video I will go for the kinetics. So what is kinematic? Kinematic means when we are considering the movable object but we are not bothering about the reason behind their motion. What is the cause of their motion? We are not bothering about that. Then it is known as kinematics. Now in this unit, whenever we have to discuss any rule, any law, anything, we always say we are studying the particle. Means every equation, every formula is being derived considering a particle. So first of all, we should know what is the meaning of a particle. As everyone is knowing, particle is a very tiny object where the whole mass is to be concentrated at a point, a single, like a sand particle. Now in this unit, whenever we will say the bus is moving, a rocket is moving, a train is moving, now we are considering the bus, train or even a rocket as a particle. We are applying the equation of particle. First we have explained like Newton's law of forces, so we have the equations assuming a particle. After that we are applying the same equation of motion of a particle on a bus, on a train or on a rocket. So we are assuming the whole object as a particle. So what is the meaning here? Now when we say the object is not having any relative motion in between its constituents or its particle, when there is no motion with respect to other particle, there is no motion, then we say the whole object is to be considered or to be assumed as a particle. That is why we can apply all those equations on the bus or on the train or any other bigger object. Now very important terms which we have to know for the dynamic part. So first is motion. Now when a body changes its position with respect to other bodies, then the body is said to be in motion, or we can say the relative change in position of body. Motion actually involves both space as well as time. Space is required in which motion act, and with respect to time the motion is acting. Now the next term is trajectory. Trajectory is the path followed by the body during its motion. It might be a straight line or it might be a curved path. The straight line is called as rectilinear motion. For example, the plane, this plane has to move from this point to this. Now what is the path followed by this plane? If it follow the straight path, means from this point to this point it goes straight, then we can say this is the rectilinear motion. But if it move the curved path, then we say this is the curvilinear motion. So one more example for the rectilinear motion. Let's say this vehicle, it moves straight like this, then rectilinear motion, and if it go like this, then we say it is the curvilinear motion. Now the few very important terms. Displacement. The displacement is actually the change of position of a particle or a body with respect to certain fixed reference point. It is actually the shortest distance between the points. For example, this person has to move from this point to this point. Now the path followed by this, if I say it is moving first in this side and in this side, so this is actually the distance traveled by this person. But when it have to be calculated as a displacement, then we say the shortest path, means from this start to this finish, what is the distance traveled in this direction. So this is known as displacement. Now in graph we have to understand the concept of distance and displacement because it is required in numericals. Let's say O, this is the point of start of motion. Now we can take an example. Let's say this a person start from O or 0 point and it move 3 meter towards this positive direction, and after that he move 2 meter in backward direction. Now if I have to say what is the total distance traveled by the person, that will be 3 on this side, after that plus 3 again because it is coming back to 0, so 3 for this side and again 3 for this side and then 2 for negative side. So the total distance traveled by the person, that will be 8. But if I talk about the displacement, it will be from 0. What is the direct distance? Shortest distance, that is from 0 to 2 only. So the displacement will be for this is 2 only, but the distance is 8. So you can see this very easily with the graph, how the distance and displacement varies for the same type of motion. Now the next term is speed. Speed is actually the rate of change of distance with respect to time. It is actually the scalar quantity. Similarly, when we talk about the velocity, the rate of change of position of a body with respect to time is called velocity, and it is a vector quantity. So when we have to find out the average velocity, we can say that is the delta x by delta t, and units of velocity is meter per second. So same like distance and displacement, speed is the scalar quantity as distance because no direction is there, and velocity is the vector quantity as displacement where the direction is to be considered. Now we will go for the next, that is the acceleration. Acceleration is defined as the rate of change of velocity of a body with respect to time. Let us say v is the velocity of a body at time t, and it becomes v plus dt in time t plus dt. Then the average acceleration of the body over time dt is equal to dv by dt or delta v by delta t. Its units are meter per second square. Very important to be remembered. The acceleration can be positive or can be negative. For example, let's say this car is moving with a particular value of velocity in this direction. Now the velocity is changing with respect to time. Let's say it is having the velocity at this point, it is having 40 meter per second, but after some time it is having 50 meter per second, after that 60 meter per second. So we can say this body, this car, it is accelerating with a value of 10 meter per second square. This is the acceleration in the car. But when the car is applying the brake, no doubt its velocity will change from 40 to 30, 30 to 20. So in that case, its velocity is decreasing with the same value 10 meter per second square. So in that case, we can say now the acceleration is negative, or we can say acceleration, it is the deceleration, or we can say the retardation in term of acceleration. Now the uniform acceleration. Uniform acceleration means when the velocity changes in equal magnitude in equal interval of time, and variable acceleration means when the velocity changes in unequal magnitude. The rate of change of velocity is not equal with respect to time, then we say that is the variable acceleration. Similarly, the distance traveled, that is actually the total distance moved by the object, and we represent it with s, and we have the formula s is equal to speed into time, means distance is equal to what is the velocity and for what time it has moved, that is known as distance traveled. Now we will go for the kinematic of particle, or we can say the motion of particle. Now in kinematic of particle, if the motion of the particle is along with the straight line, means I have told you about the rectilinear motion. When the object has moved along the straight line, then it is known as rectilinear motion. Now it may have two cases. First, uniform rectilinear motion. Second, uniformly accelerated rectilinear motion. Now we will consider first one, that is the uniform rectilinear motion. Now what is the meaning of uniform rectilinear motion? Rectilinear word is telling you the motion will be in a straight line. But uniform rectilinear means when the acceleration of a particle is 0, there is no value of acceleration, or we can say the velocity is constant, there is no change in velocity. So in that case, we have to remember this equation, x is equal to x naught plus vt. Now this equation is just similar to the equation which we have discussed, that is what the distance. We have explained the distance traveled is equal to speed into time, S is equal to V into T. So if we have to find out the distance, then we apply this equation, distance is equal to speed into time. But when we have to say in the term of position, then we can say this is the final position, this is the final position x, and this is equal to initial position where the point was, where the particle was initially x naught plus vt. This is the same equation but in the form of position for uniform rectilinear motion. So you have to remember these equation to solve the numerical. Where x is the final position or distance, we can say x naught is the initial and v is the velocity and t is the time in seconds. Now we will go for the second, that is uniformly accelerated rectilinear motion. It means when the acceleration of a particle is constant, particle is having the acceleration but it is constant. For that case we have to apply the following equations. First, v is equal to v naught plus at, x is equal to x naught plus v naught t plus half at square, v square is equal to v naught square plus 2ax minus x naught. Now from where we are getting these values? If you remember, we are having the equations v is equal to u plus at. You haven't studied these equations in your previous 11th 12th classes. V is equal to final velocity is equal to initial velocity plus acceleration into time. So this equation has been derived from the same. This is actually represented as v naught, means the initial velocity. Similarly, you have understood, you have remembered that also s is equal to ut plus half at square. You remember that equation? Now this equation we have taken the same in form of position. The final position x, that will be equal to initial position x naught plus initial velocity v naught t plus half at square. Similarly, you remember this equation also. This is the same. You have studied v square minus u square is equal to 2as. V square final velocity minus initial velocity, that is equal to 2as. You understood about that also. You have studied this also in your previous classes. So same, final velocity square of that is equal to initial velocity v naught square plus 2as. So for s we are writing the change in position, x final position minus initial position, that is representing the s distance. So you can see v is the final velocity, v naught initial velocity, a acceleration, x final distance, x naught initial distance, t is the time, and x naught, x minus x naught is the distance and represented as s in the previous equations. Now whenever we have to solve a question for this uniform rectilinear motion or uniformly accelerated rectilinear motion, you have to remember these points. First, the rate of change of distance, it will give you the velocity. Similarly, the rate of change of velocity, it will give you the acceleration. So in some numericals we have to directly follow this. And if I go in reverse, I can say the integration of acceleration, that will give you the velocity, and integration of velocity, that will give you the distance. So x is the distance here, v is the velocity, t is the time, a is the acceleration. Now we have solved the same numerical in the video also. You can watch that video for more clarity with this numerical also. I have solved all those numericals in the video form. You can go through from those videos to understand the same topic. Here I am only discussing about the theory. So all of these numericals I have solved. So let's start with the next topic, that is the kinematics of a rigid body. When we have a case of rigid body, we have to understand these terms. First is known as translation. Now what is translation? So let's say a two particle. Now this was an object. Just try to understand, this is an arbitrary shape of object. There is no diagram. Just try to understand this diagram only. Let's say this is the any shape, arbitrary shape object, and in this object I have considered the point A and B. Any 2 point, it might be a number of points, but for study only I am taking 2 points inside the object. Now I join A with B, a straight line. This line is line joining the two particle A and B like this. Now if the object move in this direction and I say in the movement path followed by both the particle is translation motion, as AB does not change its orientation. Means this is the line which is joining AB. If I say at any point, at any time interval t, the orientation of line joining the 2 point remains same orientation is followed throughout the motion. So we can say this is the translation motion. And moreover, the distance traveled by A and B is a straight path. A particle and B particle, they have moved the straight path, so we can say that is the rectilinear translation, because the path followed by the two particle is straight line. Similarly, we will take one more case. I'm joining the point A and B with the straight line, but in this case, no doubt the orientation of the line joining the two particles will remain same. At any point, any time interval, the orientation for the line joining the point particle A and B, it remains same, or we can say parallel to each other. Here also parallel to each other. The line joining the particle A and B, it remains same, but the path followed by A and B is not a straight line, that is a curve path. So due to this reason, we can say this is the curvilinear translation motion. Now we will go for the next, that is the rotation about a fixed axis. Now let's say the same object, arbitrary shape object is there. Now in that object we have considered the point A, or we can say the particle A and particle B inside the object, and this is the axis. We assume a fixed axis, it is not changing for both the particle, it is same. Now object is moving about this axis, or we can say the particle A and B, they are moving about this particular axis, then it is known as, this is the rotation of the rigid body about a particular or fixed axis. Now the next is general plane motion. Means let's say a system is there and we are having the movement of this part, we have the movement of this part, this part, and this part, this part, but we have restricted the motion of this. If I move this object, if I move these joints in this direction, the motion of this will be only the vertical, because we have restricted the motion with this frame. Similarly, the motion of these joints, it will be same only in the horizontal direction, to and fro motion. So we have restricted the motion in a plane only, here in a vertical plane only. So in this case we can say the motion is known as general plane motion, when the motion is restricted in a particular plane. Now the motion about a fixed point, let's say this case, now we are discussing about this part. Now let's say this object is having only a point contact with the surface. Now when the object is having any motion, maybe a vibration, or maybe the rotation, or maybe the axial motion, or whatever, that motion will be with respect to this surface. The motion will be at this point only, means about this point, how the object is rotating or moving. So we can say that type of motion is known as motion about a fixed point. Now the last one is general motion. General motion is that type of motion when we are not able to categorize that type of motion in these four categories. Means the motion is not from translation, not from rotation, not from general plane motion, not from motion about a fixed point. All other motion, they are known as general motion. Now we will see rotation of the rigid body about the fixed axis. In deeper, what the equations we are getting, let's say I am taking the same arbitrary shape of an object. A particle P is there in this object, and this body is rotating about this axis Z, A axis, it is rotating about this axis. Now this particle P, it will have a tangential velocity and tangential acceleration. So we will see what will be those. When this particle will move about or around this circular motion, it will carry or it will travel a distance theta, angular displacement will come. Similarly, it will have the angular velocity as well as angular acceleration. So let's see what are those. So tangential velocity, we will see the tangential velocity will be derivative of radius, or we can say omega r. So omega here is representing the angular velocity. Similarly, the acceleration will be alpha r plus omega square r. Now here we can say that this part is representing the tangential acceleration. This part is known as normal acceleration, and r is the radius of path and omega is the angular velocity. Similarly, alpha is the angular acceleration. Now when we have to find out the equation which is for rotation of a rigid body about the fixed axis, we can say omega is equal to d theta by dt, means the angular velocity, it will be rate of change of angular displacement. Theta is the angular displacement. Similarly, the angular acceleration is equal to rate of change of angular velocity with respect to time. Now these equations you can remember them very easily if I compare for the rectilinear motion the rate of change of distance, that will be the velocity, rate of change of velocity, that was the acceleration. So we have taken the same equation for angular motion also, only the difference is that we are taking the angular symbols. So this is the angular velocity, here this was the linear velocity, this is the angular acceleration alpha, this was the linear acceleration. Now in the same rotation also we are having the two type of motions. First is the uniform rotation motion, second is uniformly accelerated rotation motion. So one by one we will discuss. First we are saying about uniform rotation motion. In uniform rotation motion, same like rectilinear motion, when the angular acceleration of the body is zero, or we can say the velocity is constant, so we apply the same equation, theta is equal to theta naught plus omega t, where theta is the final angular displacement, theta naught is the initial angular displacement, and omega is the angular velocity with time t. These formulas will become very easy to remember if you compare these formulas with the rectilinear motion, or we have three equation motion. So we have the equation s is equal to vt, distance is equal to speed into time. So same we are having in this form also. This is the final position in linear direction, this is the initial position in linear direction, and this is the speed into time. We have this equation s is equal to vt. So we are applying the same equation in the angular also, but only the values are changing, means this is the angular displacement, that is equal to initial displacement plus angular velocity into time. So in this way if you compare these equations, then it will become very easy to remember. Similarly, the second is uniformly accelerated rotation motion. So in that, when the angular acceleration of the body is constant, same like rectilinear motion, we have these three equations, and it will become very easy if you compare. These are the equations in rectilinear motion and these are the rotation motion. So these symbols we are using, I will try to give you a simple way to remember. So if in the rectilinear motion we are taking v or u as the speed, but in angular we are taking omega, just similar to the w, we can say this is the speed symbols and this is the speed symbol for rotation. These are the speed symbols for rectilinear motion. Similarly, if we are taking a as the acceleration in rectilinear motion, here we are taking the same type of symbol, that is alpha at the angular acceleration. Similarly, we were taking s as the distance, or we can say x as the distance, so here we are taking theta as the angular displacement. So if you replace these symbols in the equations, you will get the equations for rotation also. So I'll give you one table. This table will help you a lot in understanding, or by comparing the values you can remember all of these things. Like initial velocity, it will be like this, final velocity, acceleration, then distance. Now the equations side by side you can compare, and very easily you will remember all these equations for both rotation as well as rectilinear motion. I have solved these numericals in video form, you can watch those videos. Here we are only discussing about the theoretical terms, so that is why I am not going to explain here the same thing. So you can watch those videos for more clarity. Now we will come to the last topic of this unit, that is the projectile, or we can say the curvilinear motion. This unit is actually having the three parts: rectilinear, we can say the straight motion, rotation, and curvilinear motion. So in curvilinear motion we have to cover the projectile. So what is a projectile? Projectile actually refers to any object which is thrown into the space and whose subsequent motion is subjected to only gravitational force. A projectile travels both in horizontal as well as in vertical direction. It covers a curvilinear path which is said as trajectory. For example, if I consider the case of this ball, we have thrown this ball. So this ball has traveled a horizontal distance as well as it has traveled the vertical distance. So this type of motion is known as projectile motion. When we have to say for projectile, there are conditions to be considered. Now first is it should be having some initial velocity always, then it should be moving under the action of gravitational force only, because if we throw this ball, it will have the initial velocity, that is why due to which it is traveling a distance. Similarly, after that there is no other force acting on the object, it is only the gravitational force which is acting on the object during its travel. For example, the projectile motions like a bullet fired from a gun, ball thrown from one player to another, stone thrown horizontally from the top of a tower. Now we will go for a few terms which are related to the projectile. First is velocity of projection. A very important term. You can see in the diagram I have explained all the terms, but again we will discuss. The velocity of projection is the velocity v with which the body is projected into the space. You can see this value. It is known as velocity of projection. Here the alpha angle is given, and this angle is the angle which the velocity make with the horizontal OX is known as angle of projection. This angle is known as alpha, it is known as angle of projection. Similarly, the range, it is the horizontal distance traveled by the object between the point of projection, means from O point up to the point B, or we can say the point where the projectile hit the ground after traveling the distance. So range is OB. The next one is time of flight. The time of flight is the time interval during which the projectile remain in motion, means it is the time taken to travel from O to B point. From O to B it will remain in air, or it will be traveling. That time is known as time of flight. The maximum height. Maximum height is actually the maximum vertical distance of projectile from the point of projection, means with respect to this point. If I say with respect to, this is the point of projection O, from this point with respect to this point, how much the maximum height it has attained, that is known as the maximum height. Here we can say this arrow is representing the maximum height. Similarly, when an object is fired from an initial level, means if I throw a ball from a building, from the roof of a building, let's say this is having OA, the initial height. Now in that case, when we have to find out the maximum height, that will be the h, which is already having with respect to the point of projection, means with respect to O, the maximum height it is already having, that is the h value. Now we will go for the components of projectile motion. Let's say the particle or the object has thrown with the initial velocity u with angle of projection alpha. Now this velocity, the initial velocity, it will have the two components. We can resolve this into two components, horizontal and vertical components, and we can say the horizontal component is ux, and we can say that is u cos alpha. Vertical component is uy, and that is u sin alpha. You have to remember in this, the horizontal component, this component, it remains same at any point in the parabola, but vertical component is changing. I say velocity at here or velocity at this point. So at any point the horizontal component u cos alpha, it will remain same, but the vertical component u sin alpha, it will change at every point. Now we will see The horizontal component and vertical component I have already told you. Now the horizontal component, that is equal to, or which is representing the uniform rectilinear motion. I told you here, at every point the object, the particle, it will have the two components, vertical as well as horizontal. The horizontal component at every point, it will be equal to the uniform rectilinear motion, and the vertical component will be uniformly accelerated rectilinear motion. So for that reason we can say, for horizontal component, for horizontal motion of projectile, we can apply the same equation of uniform rectilinear motion, that was x is equal to x naught plus vt. So here the v is the horizontal component of velocity, and we can fill the value of v with this equation, that is the u cos alpha, and after filling the value of this we can find out the horizontal motion of the projectile. Similarly, the vertical motion of projectile, it will be equal to uniformly accelerated rectilinear motion. So we can apply these three equations in the case of vertical motion of projectile. So here every term is same, we are using the same rectilinear equations. If you have remember, we have discussed about these all equations, but only the difference is that we are taking only the vertical velocity. So all velocity here, it will be vy, because vertical, initial velocity in vertical direction, and in place of acceleration we are having the gravitational force. Similarly, the position in y direction, so initial velocity y direction and acceleration due to gravity, same here, velocity in y direction, initial velocity in y direction, and the distance only in y direction. And we take the value of acceleration due to gravity negative, because in vertical motion it will go against the gravity. Now we have all these numericals. I have solved all these numericals in a separate video. You can watch those videos for more clarity how we are solving these. Here I am going to discuss only about the theory part.